Welcome to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Steve Suarez, with RJ Graham Plumbing, and joining me today is Brad LaHood, also with RJ Graham Plumbing. How you doing, Brad?
Good, very good.
All right. On today's show, we've got Dan Genty of Sentry Pest Solutions, and what's going down in J-Town. I have to say that because of the way he has it on his Facebook page. What's going down in J-Town's very own Tom Maslowski. Tom was with us last week, and he was introduced as someone who is, I called him a guru of Joliet. I was wrong, and I couldn't be more wrong. I had the opportunity to sit down this weekend and have a beer with him and Brad at Elder Brewery, which they were great. I mean, that was a great time, wasn't it, Brad?
Yeah, it was. It was a great place. The beers were good. People were great.
Awesome. And got a little tour of an old building in downtown Joliet.
That building is cool. It's very cool.
The vault door, to the basement is pretty cool. I mean, they were great people. I appreciate it. Thanks to you guys out there. And I have to apologize to Tom because he's not a guru. He's not one of them guys that, is a know-it-all. This is a genuine Joliet resident who lives, breathes, and lives the area. The passion he shows for the area and for what's going on and being a part of the community and just in talking about it, it's just amazing. Obviously, anybody who was listening last week heard a bit of that passion, but you're going to continue to hear him every week and just listen to some of what he's got going on and the information he has, and it's really going to bring a lot of information about the community that you may or may not have known about. If you know about it, then you're going to get some information on when and times and where. If you don't, then you're just going to be your eyes opened up to a whole different world. I mean, it was just really cool. So that was really fun. So we got Tom Maslowski here, and I can't wait to have him on, talk to him. Yeah.
Also, today starts RJ Graham's sponsorship of the Rock and Roll Diner on 95.9 The River, which airs weekdays at noon. Yeah, tune in tomorrow. Not today. Tune in tomorrow.
Well, it starts today. Don't listen today because we're on right now. So,
obviously.
We need them to hear us now. So, and also, RJ Graham Plumbing is the kickoff sponsor for WJOL's Game of the Week. We want to congratulate this week's winner, Joliet West, on a cold, rainy day and their victory. So that was pretty cool. Congratulations to them.
You can find us, if you're looking for us, you can find us at prepare2repair@gmail.com. You can find us at prepare2repair.com. Find us on Facebook at prepare2repair. And then if you want to hear us later on during the week, you can listen to us on the Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and our YouTube channel, all under the same name, Prepare to Repair.
And also, I think Tom is sharing it on his social media and on his website as well. So I appreciate that, Tom. We're continuing on with our Prepare for Spring topics. And as we're talking about things that are going on for spring, we're talking about home improvement projects that people are going to be taking on, and they're going to be looking for people. And as they start looking for people are going to get recommendations. They're going to look, as they get the recommendations, they're going to check reviews. They're going to check local review sites all over the internet and so forth. So we're going to talk a little bit about those reviews and how to what the validity of them, or how to distinguish the reviews and the value of them.
Yeah, almost like how to decipher the reviews.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, like when you find a review, when you get a recommendation, and how are you getting that recommendation? Where are you getting that recommendation from? If you're getting it from social media, you have to be, they're not concerned, but you have to take that recommendation with just as on face value, correct?
Yeah. You really, as these reviews or recommendations come in, you want to look for a lot of specifics, so to say. So it was, so much like the person actually using said contractor, or or actually, if we're talking in a restaurant sense, somebody's actually been there. So it's an authentic review is really or an authentic recommendation is what we're looking for.
Well, you also have people who have their friends, their family members, their employees, and things of that nature that are making the recommendation. And though that's great, I mean, you're happy about your friend, family, relative, employee, whatever the case may be, but as somebody that's going to hire, I'm concerned because I need to make sure that it's coming from the right person. It's like it's basically like this. It's like going to a restaurant and asking the server if the food is good. Mm-hmm. What are they going to do? Tell you no?
Right.
I mean, they're gonna, no, it's horrible. Go somewhere else. Right. I mean, not if they want to keep their job. Sure. Nobody with any in good sense is going to do that. But on the other sense of it is when you're looking at that review and they did go there and they used that business, you want to look at that experience that they had. And if, like say, it was negative, was it just a maybe two ideas didn't mesh as far as contracting, or if you went to a restaurant, was it something that, everyone's entitled to a bad day. I mean, it's just, you have that.
Sure.
I mean, you can have, we were talking to the folks at Elder about it. It's like you can have, she could be on her game, 9 out of 10 times, and then someone comes in on the one time that maybe she's having a bad day. She's human, or he's human, and you're going to get that. So all these have to be taken into account when
the
doing
afternoon
that.
rush.
So when looking at that, got a little glitch there. That's cool.
I think the other thing with reviews I try and look for is more so like on the contracting end is what kind of work do they do? Is it a similar type of work? I try and find a review. On our end, it's plumbing. Mm-hmm. So if I'm looking for somebody to install my water heater, I might look and see if there's a review that said they installed my water heater. You look for reviews that are more than just they were good, 3 stars. You're looking for reviews that seem genuine, authentic, very descriptive of the work being done.
Right. And they were nice people. Mm-hmm. Or they've seen some of the stuff that they've done and, they're great people, this is that. But that, just because you're a great person doesn't mean, like, I could be a great guy. But that doesn't mean I can plumb to save my life.
Right.
I mean, you want somebody that's going to get the job done, but having a nice person that's able to communicate and do all that stuff too. And also, with that, bringing that topic up as far as, nice people doing business. We're going to bring Tom on because Tom could give us some information on what he sees on his end, because he talks to a lot of folks that are in the restaurant business, in the entertainment business, and he's around there and he sees these folks that are busting their tails that, maybe somebody might have, there might be another side to that story with a negative review of some sort.
Right.
Right, Tom?
Well, hey, what's going on, guys? I appreciate all the kind words earlier. It's very nice of you to do.
We had to give you some love, man. Got to give you some love.
That's right. But no, I do. I have actually sat at a lot of places and observed things that go on. Being a musician, sometimes you have to get to places early. I like food, so sometimes I get there early on purpose so I can eat and hang out a little bit. And,
the truth comes out.
It always comes back to the food, man. But, I've seen most of the time, the reason why for people who are genuine, nice people, or at least not nice per se, but like down to earth. They're right. Real people. They're not just, giving you the song and dance because you're in their establishment spending money, which they do have to do also. I don't necessarily want to be the punching bag of somebody's bad day either when I go to a restaurant, within reason. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to exaggerate or say like you have to smile the entire time. But I feel like the down to earth people, those that are actually really into what they're doing, they're giving you a good product because they care about the craftsmanship of it, where it's creating pieces of art, a burger, working on a road, replacing windows. You want someone that cares about what they're doing. I don't believe the fact that if there was no money that people wouldn't work. I do believe that people have a genuine desire to build things, to fix things. It's fun. It's exciting. You know that you're helping people's lives become better through whatever it is that you're doing. If you fix someone's toilet, make them some food, play them a song, whatever you did, you just made their day a little better for at least that moment. So
absolutely,
exactly.
Absolutely. I that's kind of what I look for, or what maybe I was trying to say when I, the person's personality is important to me, and maybe that's kind of more the reason why I guess I would say that it's important, you know. And then as far as the bad reviews go, and I have to use, well, there's an example of a place I love going and a bartender that I think is hilarious. And if it wasn't for his antics, there would have been a lot of jerks in this bar. And because of the way he dealt with things, because of the way the whole place dealt with these kinds of people, I didn't feel nervous if my wife went to the bar by herself until 2 a.m. while I was out at a show somewhere else or something. It's because I knew they had their back. Now, there's the whole concept of the customer is always right, and I don't believe that's entirely true. I realize that you can't turn away business from someone because you don't agree with their politics or you don't like whatever it is about them. I'm not talking so much about that as people blatantly taking advantage of the concept of the customer is always right to just get something for free or to maybe take their aggression on somebody, or I don't know, maybe they just think that's like how you're supposed to do it. But I feel that there are times when even the best businessman or woman is just about had enough of someone kind of maybe taking advantage of things. So my wife and I, being that she's in the restaurant industry, really, we get a kick out of looking through restaurant reviews because you can pick out the people who are just, you have to look at, like, what is that person saying? Imagine that situation. Obviously, we can only hear one side of the story, but I feel like if you can imagine, like, okay, why is this person saying this? I can imagine going into this place and these things are happening. Are they complaining just to complain? Was it a genuine bad experience with a food that made them sick, or it wasn't what it was supposed to be, or was it, skimpy? Was it burnt? Was it, those are the things that we look for. Not like, I don't ever take a review of, the server was not this or that. You don't know what's going on from day to day. You don't know what kind of person, like Brad was saying, you don't know what kind of person is doing this review. Right. And I think the best thing to do really is to go try it out for yourself. If it's right not what you like, then you don't have to go back there. And I think another thing that would help in the review world, and I think we talked about this at the brewing company last weekend, but maybe start leaving some positive reviews. If somebody went above and beyond and made your experience better in any way, maybe talk about that as opposed to always just in a rage, keeping your hateful experience. I don't think that's doing anything good for anybody. It's not very informative, and it's more or less just like a soapbox to jump on and like yell for it in like the safety of your own home.
No, for sure.
But
and not to cut you off, I am guilty of that. Is having a good experience and not leaving a review, because this day and age, that's definitely important to a business.
But you know what? But here's the thing. That's kind of what I was going to kind of touch on with what you said, Tom. Is one, your review has to be the validity, has to be based on the product or service that you got. I mean, so if you went to a restaurant or you went to a restaurant, you got food, the quality of food. If the quality of food was bad that day, then you want to. Then you explain your experience. If the service that you got, like say the plumbing service, if we did a job and the quality wasn't up to standard, how did we respond to that? What did we do when you brought it to the attention of the owner or the people in charge? Because it's all the response of, because you're not going to make everybody happy all the time. What is your response on that? What is the ownership's response or the company's response from that review? That review that you got that was, say, negative, what did they respond to it? And that's a way to look at it too. But also, like you said about maybe a server having a bad day. Now, you know that there's two sides to that coin, because you can also be someone that maybe makes that server smile if she's having a bad day. And I've run into that where I'm at the, wherever I'm getting, and I see you could see the people at the drive-thru, or maybe you get your food at maybe going fast food, and they're kind of just, kind of having a bad day. You could just see it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not giving you the money until you smile. Okay, you're going to give me a smile or something. And then you get a crack of a grin, and you know what? It's little things like that. Does it mean anything if you're frustrated all day? No, but you know what? if it can help somebody get a little bit of a better day, you can be why someone smiled. So you can control your end of that experience as well, because sometimes when you have two things, they can cause a problem. It can actually make a smaller, minute problem even better, or bigger, I should say. But let me ask you this, Tom, and I just rattled off on this stuff, but with what you said about being, and I've heard people talk about this, other plumbing companies and other companies in general, as far as reviews. Are reviews really, I mean, I know they're important, but as far as a company, I'm more concerned. I mean, yeah, I'm concerned about the reviews, negative and positive. I don't want anybody to have a bad experience. But I know a lot of people, they just don't review. They don't give reviews. But what they do is they keep coming back. And they keep telling their friends, their family, and everybody else. So if I had a choice between having them go online and give a review, or just keep calling me back, or keep filling a restaurant, if I'm a restaurant owner or a bar or whatever the case may be, I'd rather them come back and pack the house.
Yeah, that word of mouth is really what does it, and that continuation of, hey, I had a good experience and I've continued to use them. I've used them for multitude of projects, and same thing in the food industry or what, like they were great. I had this great meal, or this great, this drink was amazing. So on and so forth. So that's another way to look at reviews is how frequent people are going, if it's not so much a review, but more a recommendation.
Right. Or do you judge a guy, and maybe Tom would, or do you, because they were talking about a plumber. Mm-hmm. They were talking about a plumber who, he doesn't get a whole lot of, or what, I guess the question was, what does a review, or, good or bad reviews, how do you handle good reviews as far as a plumber? And my comment on it was, well, it's not really so much the plumber, or as far as the reviews, is how many of these people are continuously calling back asking for this person, mm-hmm. or this plumber. You got people that he has a lot of return customers, people asking for him, people want his services. They told their relatives about him, because plumbing, as far as service plumbing, and just like going to a restaurant, or a lot of people like a specific server that works because they're really good. They like a plumber that knows their house. They like all that stuff. So, I mean, what's your opinion on that, Tom, as far as that?
I don't quite have an opinion, I guess. I feel like, the internet blew up. Now we have social media. Now I feel like sometimes the review companies are who's telling us that the reviews are important. I mean, obviously,
they're
you want to
money
go
off
and
of
get
it.
some feedback. Yeah, well, everyone wants like the publicity. Please come to my site. Like, click, subscribe. That's like the mantra of this like last few years, and rightfully so. I'm in the same boat. But I don't know. I think it's like anything else in life. If you were just to go out to the bar, or if there was like the pub used to be the meeting place, right? You would go there. It was a family day. You eat, you get your news. It wasn't just a place to go drink, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where all the information. There were blowhards back then as well. There were people that would always say everything was great. Yeah. There's people that are always going to say everything is terrible. There's the mom, the dad, and the cousin are going to say my family member is the best. And there's going to be the disgruntled employee who was like, man, they have these shady practices. You have to decide for yourself. I mean, you're going to have to look at the reviews and say, hey, there's a lot of people really saying the same thing, and they seem all different. Mm-hmm. They're not obviously family members or employees. There's like 3-5 really terrible reviews all saying a similar thing. I don't think anyone really takes these reviews at face value. I think most oftentimes the people getting the most hyper about all of this are the business owners, because they are so concerned about making sure that a good word gets put out about them, that it's just this frantic feeling that, oh man, the entire world now just heard this bad review about me or about my restaurant. And I don't think you can always take that as the truth. What if the person that had the bad experience was a real jerk and was being really crazy that day and had to be asked to leave? How do we know? Or they were a competitor. or they were a competitor.
Yeah.
But I do have some news on some places that are good in downtown J-Town.
Well, yeah, we went on the reviews. We told, basically the moral of the story, wrapping up the review part is, when looking at it, take each one with a grain of salt, look at all of them, and pay attention to how the owners responded and what they, that usually shows the way how they feel about. It's a reflection of the business, is where it starts at the top. That's your leadership. That tells you how they care about it for the most part, is how they respond. And
I do think there's a responsibility on people like you and I and journalists and things that are also putting information out there about businesses, especially I think specifically in downtown Joliet, is got this infamous rap for being just a dark and dingy place. And I oftentimes see a lot of information like that being constantly put out there, and not enough information, I think, about the positive things that are happening and the efforts being made to make it a very family-friendly and cultural place, as a matter of fact. The whole point of what's going down in downtown J-Town was to be one place where you would go and not hear about
negativity,
crime and politics and things like that. And not that I don't care about them. I'm not saying there's no concern, but there's got to be something spoken about what things we can do to actually move towards a better place. Move towards communities actually working together to succeed. I don't think because one place succeeds that somebody else has to fail. This is not a football game.
No.
These are people's lives, and I think everyone deserves to eat and go to the doctor and go out and have a good time. As a matter of fact, at Chicago's Pub tonight is the singer-songwriter circle. It was an open mic night at first, hosted by Alex Hoffer, and then, due to changes in our society and our life and things like that, it is now just like a local musician spotlight.
Okay.
So up to singer-songwriters scheduled to get up there and put on. It's a free performance. There's no cover charge to get in, and these are some serious musicians that get up there and are trying to just kind of hone some new songs. Maybe they're kind of getting geared up for a recording project or for a larger show that weekend. But it's a really great time. It's always very, very high-quality music. It's always at a talking volume, so you can still go and enjoy, the company you brought with you.
Excellent.
And I would highly recommend the Tavern Beef Melt at Chicago Street Pub. I'm kind of like hooked on that right now. And then also on Thursday, Brian Motel used to be in a band called River Horse. He is now on his own. Some of the other members decided to move to other states and things like that. But Brian's been killing it for 7 or 8 years here at Chicago Street Pub and at Joliet. And it's going to be a good show. I'm very excited to see what he does as a solo artist. And I don't know if anyone knows that the Joliet City Center Partnership is running a contest right now. It's like a promotional thing. It's called Eat to Win. You can get $500. So go eat anywhere in the downtown Joliet area and save your receipt. There is a QR code. You can take a picture and send your picture into this. There's a website you can go and submit your picture. If you go to the Joliet City Center Partnership Facebook page, all the information's on there. After I get done with you guys today, I'll be posting all the things that I talk about at the top of my Facebook page on what's going down in downtown J-Town.
Awesome.
There has been a winner already. Mr. Craig Lichtenwalter was as far as I know, the first and only winner of this contest.
Nice. I'm coming for him. I got my receipt from Elder on Saturday. It's getting submitted.
That is awesome.
I've been submitting a few receipts. I'm not going to lie.
Now, you were talking about all the stuff going down as far as that, because we're going to wrap up in a minute with you, because I got another, we got to take a break, but this goes by quick. That's why we're doing this every week with you, Tom. Now, the Route 66 Museum, because Brad was looking down there too as a venue for
a
him.
wedding, actually.
Right.
Yeah, we checked it out for a wedding venue. It's a great spot.
Yeah, now, Brad is obviously off the market. He's no longer the most eligible bachelor in Tinley Park.
This is true.
So now, my brother, Rick Suarez, now, because he lives in Tinley Park, now moves up to the most eligible bachelor in Tinley Park.
The baton has been passed.
It has been passed. Yes. So he's available. Any ladies out there? He's a very successful, good-looking man. I'm not going to say he's ugly, because that means my parents gave birth to ugly kids, and that I'm not ugly. So, but there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm really glad that you're on the show. And I'm sorry I took most of your time up with the reviews and stuff like that, but it's just something that we were discussing, and people really need to sift through a lot of the negative information to get to the positive. So I appreciate having you on, Tom. Thank you for sharing everything with us and sharing our pages, and we've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing together moving forward.
There's some things in the works involving food.
Oh, exactly. Absolutely. We're putting together we're putting together a taco fest and a taco tour. We let it out. So
Joliet Taco Tour coming to you very soon.
There you go, brother.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate. Well, I'm sorry. What's that?
No, I was going to say thank you for being on here, and I appreciate it, man. And I can't tell you the time that we spent, talking over the weekend was really great. I mean, it's just I was blown away by your passion of the area and the knowledge, and you're a welcome addition to the show. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right. Thank you. We're taking a break, and we're going to have, on the other side of the break, we're going to be talking to Dan Genty from Sentry Pest Solutions.
Same this year. The last 2 years, the pest pressure, it seems to it like it has actually multiplied like exponentially. I'm getting more calls for ants and wasps this year than I have the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before. And it's absolutely ridiculous this year. So I couldn't be any happier, but people are definitely starting to see a lot more and having a lot more issues with. It's been a lot of wasps lately. The sugar ants and the carpenter ants have also been really huge this year. And yeah,
I see a lot of people on mainly a lot of posts looking for an exterminator, looking for someone to help with these pests, and a lot of them were wasps. I noticed that yellow jackets, and I've noticed they were talking about mosquitoes and carpenter ants. Another one was I saw, and one woman was like, I mean, rightfully so, just really freaking out about mice, rodents, and so
mice,
I mean, it's
been absolutely massive all winter. So mosquitoes are actually out. Mosquitoes and ticks are actually out earlier than I ever would have possibly expected. I had gotten, I think, 3-4 phone calls for ticks while there's still snow on the ground, which doesn't make any sense biologically to me. But
wow.
Lo and behold, they had pictures of ticks on their dogs when there's still little patches of snow. It was mind-blowing to me, but
now
you can't really tell them when they're going to be there or not be there.
Well, we were discussing when I talked to you during the week, we were talking about, some of the stuff to go over on the show is I didn't know that an interesting thing about ticks is ticks are like, if people are under the impression that if you go like into a wooded area, that's where they're more plentiful, but that's not the case. Is it, Dan?
They love mice. They will hang out and they will feed on mice. I mean, where do you see a lot of mice at? In fields. So if you have an area that is where you have a yard and it's kind of butted up against a wooded area, chances are there's going to be ticks all around the side of your property there.
Okay, so the outskirts, not necessarily so much inside.
Not inside of the woods themselves. Well, I'm sure they're still there, but in that kind of transition between like the weeds and the woods, they love to hang out in those low-lying bushes and weeds and whatnot, and they'll just jump on you as you walk by.
Okay. Wow.
Hey, Dan, what do you recommend homeowners generally do? Like, say they have whether it be a rodent issue or whether it be mosquitoes or ants or wasps, ticks.
Yeah.
Like if they're having this,
call me. I'm not going to say anything else. But
well, they're going to freak out. That's what I'm saying. They're going to, because I mean, my dog got skunked. Dogs got skunked twice, and they thought it was someone to play with. So I'm not going to grab him from playing with the skunk because I didn't want to smell like skunk. So I proceeded to use the hose to spray him to keep him away. That was very, very bad. That was dumb.
Live, learn. You don't add water to skunk because it makes it worse and it makes it stick and it makes it bleed into everything. So that's one of those live, learn things. You do that one time and then you realize, okay, this is not how you handle this.
I was
so yeah, water
dumb.
never ever helps.
That dog smelled for 2 weeks and then got it again. So basically, again, both of them got it again. It's like, oh my Lord, I love these animals, but I was ready to evict them. They were going to sleep outside for a little bit, but they come up to you like they're your
Hang out
best
in the
buddy.
garage for a little while.
Yeah, they're like your best buddy. Hey, you know what happened? No, you smell. But but honestly, like, what we're saying is obviously they're going to tell them to call you and things like that, but this incident happens. They see a tick. They see, dogs get skunked or something like that. They see a skunk, and they run into this. Obviously, what's the first reaction they could do? And then obviously call you. What would be that kind of, actions they could take to kind of minimize?
To minimize it, I would say,
or mitigate until they can get you out there.
Breathe. It's not the world. Ticks, yeah, sure, they're horrible. They feed on you. Mosquitoes, same thing. Nobody likes to be bit by anything. I'd say the number one thing is to get the tick out. Basically, you can't go and rip it out because the head might stay in there. But the little match trick, that one works, where you kind of just put it on it and it kind of backs away. That's number one, is to get it out. And then as far as the mosquitoes and ticks, both those treatments are going to be the same thing. The product that I use for mosquitoes works incredibly well on ticks as well. So the only issue with it is it's a 30-day treatment. It doesn't last 3 months like most everything else does. So the treatment that I would actually put down would have to be reapplied every, monthly. But then again, the spring is kind of like the hot time for the ticks. And, once they're getting later in the summer and in the fall, it kind of dies down a little bit. You don't have to worry so much about them, especially if you've already had a couple treatments put down where it's knocked down the population in that general area. No. At that point, it's not really the end of the world if there might be one or two that probably aren't going to be on looking for people. They've already found their host. They're already hanging out on whatever mouse is out there, whatever deer's running around. And, that's kind of where I'm going with that, is the treatments are actually...
You had mentioned the matchstick trick, which I actually knew. Are there any other, like, let's say, old wives' tales, so to say, that really are just myths that people have spread that aren't true? Are there things that you could maybe share with people? Mothballs?
Mothballs. People use mothballs and vinegar for everything. My mom's included in this. Hi, Mom. They simply they don't work like people want them to. I'd say probably about 50% of the jobs I go to have mothballs spread all over the yard, all over the backyard, trying to push whatever rodents are away, and it just simply does not work. Same thing with those ultrasonic traps. There's actually lawsuits out there for those people, for those companies that are actually
you plug them in?
Called the class action lawsuits against the plug-in ultrasonic sound makers, and they simply do not work. If I had to go out and guess, I'd say probably 70% of those old wives' tales don't really work, especially like in the way I'm looking at them. I look at things through a technology eye. Okay, this works like this affects this part of the insect, this affects this part of the rodent, whereas the old wives' tale is like, oh, they just don't like the smell of it. Here, we'll put this down.
Right.
Same thing with, like cinnamon? Like cinnamon doesn't do anything. There's just so many of them, it's unbelievable. I could probably go on for days about how many different old wives' tales. I could probably go and look on Google and find out probably 9 out of 10 of them are not going to work at all.
So it's best just to, when you run into these, contact someone like yourself and be able to get the proper resolution instead of spending a whole lot of money on products that are likely not going to work. And then when you add them up, you wound up spending $100 on vinegar and mothballs and whatever else you're going to do, and or whatever, some gadget you're going to plug in. Which the gadgets that plug in don't work. I worked in a house that this gadget was supposed to repel roaches, and they were actually nesting in there. So it really didn't.
pictures just like that. So
yeah, it's not a good thing. But one thing we talked about, and I want to kind of move along to this one, is, and this is really important because we definitely have to touch on that because that's one of the points of our show of what the reason why we do this. And that question is, what should homeowners avoid when selecting a pest control company? Because unfortunately, fear sells, and you have a lot of people that are going to capitalize on it. They do it in the plumbing business, where it's the sewer's backing up, the sewer has an issue, and people just really they freak out, and that's the perfect time for, say, somebody who is just looking to sell something rather than a resolution to take advantage.
Home Depot, they actually have some stuff
Big
that
box.
can possibly work
Big
in a lot of
box.
places. I mean, I'm any of those big box stores
There
like
you
that. They have things that do work. When it comes to certain pests, it becomes it makes the problem a lot more difficult to solve. Things like carpenter ants, they will actually. So there's a red and white bottle, so I'm kind of getting back to this now. There's a red and white bottle that pretty much every home has in it. It works. It actually has a product, the active ingredient is dimethrin, and it actually works as a repellent, whereas it kind of pushes the pests away from the house instead of actually solving the problem with a non-repellent, which is what you should be using in a case like this. When you push the carpenter ants away, they get the product on them. They feel something's wrong. They put out a pheromone that says, "Hey, everybody run." And basically once they have pheromones on them and they put it out, and it will actually make that one colony that you're trying to fight inside of that home split into 2 colonies, split into 3 colonies. It just makes the problem so much more difficult to solve just because they use the wrong product for the job. Whereas things like mouse traps, I see a lot of people go and get whatever random baits, and they have these little bait blocks that are a rodenticide. They are poison, and they have them placed throughout their house with no covers on them or anything like that. I mean, it's just not safe. You can't really have that. I try not to put any rodenticides inside the house, period, if I have an option. And you go into some houses sometimes that these customers or the homeowners go and they purchase these things, and it's just they're not really using them in the correct function. So while the red and white bottle, it does work for some things, it is absolutely the worst idea that you could possibly imagine to use for something like a carpenter ant infestation, which they're difficult to get rid of just because of their biology, but you go and you put that on top of it, and it turns a slightly difficult job into a much, much harder to solve problem.
Right. Well,
So, not saying that we can't do it. We do it every day, but it makes it a little bit difficult.
Well, what I was kind of touching on was the fact that, like I said, when most people, when they're having these issues with pretty much, like I said, certain things that are stressful problems, they will call one of these big name companies out there and one of these larger companies, and sometimes they get a good person that is giving them the right information. Sometimes that information may not be. It may be a little bit questionable.
Most of the time, it's over exaggerated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are you getting the right information, or are you getting information that is you need to get a second opinion on? And I'm not, it's not an indictment of anybody. It's
I'd
just
say always get a second opinion. If you're going to go with a big company, ask somebody smaller and local if this is the correct resolution for it. I see it all the time, just about every day. We called so-and-so. They said that we have to remove all of the insulation and replace it with this, and it's going to be like a $14,000 bill. And I take a look, and I'm like, there's no indication whatsoever that you need to do that. You might possibly have one mouse here. If you don't have one mouse, you have 0. And they're saying they need to completely basically rehab the entire attic of their home for nothing. Yeah, I mean, they feed on people, and I see it every day.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but it is what it is. I guess they wouldn't be in business if they weren't good at salesmanship, and they're more salesmen than a lot of times than they are actually solving the issues.
Yeah, it's that 5% technician, 95% salesman. We see it in our industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's fear sells, and it's if you can make them afraid of it, you're more likely to make a sale on it, and that's one of there's a lot of laws that were put in place because of people using the scare tactics and so forth. But that's why I wanted to kind of so people realize that when they're having an issue, whether like I said plumbing or anything like that, or even pest control or pest issues, it's going to be a stressful situation. So they need to, if they don't like what they got on the first opinion, get a second opinion, but do your homework on the people you're hiring. Like I said, get somebody such as yourself that would be able to get some information, and then you can compare what two people told you, and then you can ask a lot of questions and get the information and get the right information that's going to help you. So, and that's what I tell people to do.
Are there?
I'm absolutely a huge fan of that idea. It is the best option is to kind of, just get somebody local first off, and then you can, if you want to go with a national company, you can give them a call. But I'm pretty sure most of the time they like to make up things that aren't really there. I mean, at least from what I'm seeing. I had another customer just today. He had said that they need this, and then they need weekly treatments. And, I mean, there's not a treatment in the world that's really required to be out there weekly. And it's like...
Interesting.
It ruffles my feathers the wrong way a lot of times, but I see it every day.
Yeah, so. we see it too. Is there... so obviously we're rolling into spring here. Maybe you can kind of touch on just quickly some peak seasons and what homeowners can look out for. So, it's spring. I'm going to start to do stuff in my yard. What can I start looking for as far as like pests and stuff like that? Like
spring brings ant calls and wasp calls. Those are my two number one things in spring. Those are by far the biggest ones up there. Then when you start to slip into summertime, you start talking about mosquitoes. Okay. They come out, I'm getting a lot of calls for those guys. Ants are still there a little bit, but not really nearly as much. And then once you start to slip into summer, you actually start to get into the summer and the fall. I had messed this up last time, and I had actually called you and reminded you about this. There's the spiders that start to happen in fall, but in summertime, we get a lot of wasp calls. Yellow jackets. Yellow jackets are kind of the big ones for that season there. Is their nests kind of get more established.
Okay.
And people start to notice them. Yellow jackets, bald-faced hornets. Then that's when they start to actually notice those things kind of hanging around. And wintertime is mice. Is definitely the rodent time because they're not hanging out outside anymore. They're looking for somewhere nice and warm and cozy to kind of move into.
Absolutely. Well, that is, I don't know. Did you have any other questions for him? Because, I mean, this is,
it's a lot of info, but yeah, I think we're good.
Well,
good.
I wanted to ask you this. Well, first off, can you let people know how to get in touch with you? Because, well, I mean, you're a local guy, and just the knowledge that you have is very just, plentiful, I should say. I mean, you have a lot of information regarding it. You're passionate about what you do, and actually care.
With passion comes the knowledge.
Exactly. So, how would they get in touch with you to call you out for everything that's going on?
Phone number that we can be reached at is 844-BUY-BUGS, BYEBUGS, which is 844-293-2847. Or we're on Facebook at Sentry Pest Solutions, and we also have a webpage, which is sentrypestsolutions.com.
Fantastic. Well, Dan, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us and talking to giving listeners a lot of information that they probably wouldn't otherwise have. And honestly, they may be afraid to maybe ask or go online. I mean, because they may think, oh, well, I've got bugs. That must mean I'm unclean or something like that. But that's not the case.
Even a little bit. Bugs are going to be everywhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Everywhere and anywhere.
Absolutely.
But, if your listeners would like, I'd like to extend a 15% discount if anybody wants to mention the show as they called in.
Absolutely.
So just throwing that out to your people out there. And I really would like to say thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Dan, for being on here. And as we wrap up here, what we're going to do is we've got upcoming guests for next week's show. We've got Tony Delgado of Evolution Installs. And this is something that we're discussing as far as just with all the information that's coming up with that we've seen out there with, there's porch pirates, things being stolen, cars being stolen, just a lot of things happening that people have gotten more Ring doorbells, they've gotten more cameras, and that's something that Tony does as long as some interior stuff.
I love them. I would highly recommend, people looking to get cameras. Tony's a great guy to do it.
Absolutely. And also don't forget to catch high school football game of the week this week on WJOL. And we're proud to be the kickoff sponsor. And this week it's going to be this Friday. It's going to be DePaul versus Joliet Catholic. So pretty excited about that. And what else we got as we wrap up?
You can reach us at prepare2repair@gmail.com. You can find us at prepare2repair.com. You can find us on Facebook, Prepare to Repair. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and our YouTube channel. You can find Tom at his website. It's zestysol.com or his What's Going Down in Downtown J-Town podcast.
Awesome. And also on WJOL here on Wednesdays, you can catch Brent Wilk with his Wilk Real Estate Show. Definitely catch that. Great guy. Gives a lot of information regarding real estate in the area. And if you ever want to get in touch with us, obviously this is hosted by me, Steve Suarez of RJ Graham. You can reach out to us at area code 708-743-7426.